Hey guys, welcome back to Ironside Ranch. So we're going to talk about firewood, energy shortages, and all that good stuff here in just a second. First, I want to touch base on this video I did the other day talking about getting your money out of banks and putting it in local credit unions. Now, most of the comments were great, positive comments, and all of our subscribers were always wonderful, but that video really skyrocketed. And to date, at this posting, it got like 150,000 views, which is really substantial for a channel my size. Or I should say our size, my Lynn's channel. So for a channel this size is that was pretty substantial viewer count. And so one of the things though that came up here is there was a lot of negative comments. People telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. That credit unions are no better, or in some ways worse, et cetera, et cetera. And so let me offer just a little bit of clarity. First off, I'm not a financial advisor or a banker. I don't know all the details on banking. But here's what I do know is that credit unions have a different set of laws and rules governing them because that's why they call them credit unions instead of banks, is because they have a whole different set of rules governing them. And they generally have some type of membership ownership, and they have a completely different outlook because they're operated as a nonprofit, or at least most of them are anyways. I don't know that necessarily is a requirement, but just like with any other business and with any nonprofit and with any banks, some are better than others, and there's certain ones that are better to put your money in than others. We have a phenomenal one here local to us. There's a number of them around that we use. We've swapped our business, or should say swapping our businesses over to them, and we've found that we have a much greater sense of customer care with them, dealing with anything from business lending or just having a standard depository account has been a lot smoother process. So we really like the credit unions. I'm a big fan of them, and I think that as a general rule, they're better. They are not FDIC insured. They are, I believe it's NCUI. I think it's National Credit Union Insurance is what it stands for, but they have a different insurance on them, but it's basically the same thing. It's just called something different. Anyways, the credit unions to me are just another tool that you can use to store your money, because I don't think that it's wise to have $100,000 sitting in a safe at your house. There's no safe in this country, or I should say no safe on the general retail market, unless you're looking at something custom, I suppose, that will withstand a house fire if your safe is in the basement of a house, where a lot of people put their safes. So we inspect a lot of houses in Birmingham and in Montgomery, and a lot of people put their safes in their basement, and they don't realize that that house fire gets so hot, and that's basically a kiln down there, as you have these block walls all the way around it, that it's going to destroy everything in that safe. They just get too hot, and their safes are not fireproof; they're fire resistant, and they have a fire resistance rating on them. So the majority of safes that are out there will just not withstand that. So that's why I think that you have to have money elsewhere. I think you should keep cash on hand. I think you should have some on hand, but it can't be more than you could afford to lose in the event that you deal with a home break-in or something. Don't store $100,000 cash there unless your net worth is pretty high. There's other options for hiding things, whether you do some midnight gardening or whatever. There's a whole array of how to hide your precious metals and your physical cash and that sort of thing. But you should have your cash in multiple locations, whether that's credit unions, banks, even on your Ameritrade accounts or your crypto accounts and stuff like that. You should have this cash in multiple locations. You can't keep it all in one place, because if something happens with those banks going insolvent or doing bail-ins, you've got a problem then, and you've got a big one. So that's what I just want to clarify some of my thoughts on that, is that I think that the majority of our money is kept in credit unions, but that doesn't mean that all of our money is kept in credit unions. And we definitely have, with multiple businesses, we have money in different accounts with many different banks and credit unions. And so I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, so on to the firewood. Firewood is a great way of heating your house, and we love having a wood stove. We love heating our house with firewood. Firewood takes work, and it takes a lot of time because it takes time to cure, it takes time to cut, it takes time to split, stack, and just get ready to go. And it takes more effort throughout the wintertime because you have to maintain that fire, and it certainly is more of a burden on you and your family to do that, and it's important to make sure everybody in your family knows how to do it. My wife knows how to start the fire and how to run the fireplace, and it's not just me. That way, if I'm sick or break a leg or whatever and can't do it, she can handle it. It's part of the reason why we actually keep 2 years worth of firewood on hand, is just simply so that we can get through an injury or something along those lines without having to either buy wood or pay the electric bill to run our heat. So the fact is, guys, is that the World Economic Forum is telling us that we're going crazy on energy bills, specifically over in Europe. They're talking about firewood shortages. People are having problems getting firewood out of the woods, and they're not issuing permits the way that they were in the past. They're standing dead timber, and they're not allowed to harvest it. This all seems like a big control thing. Like they're just trying to keep control of. If they can control your food, they can control your energy, they can control you, type of thing. And who is they is the bigger question. But I think we're inclined to see a lot colder, harsher winters coming in front of us. I do not think 2022 is going to be the end of it. I do not think that this is going to be the last winter that is harsh. I think next year is going to be even worse. And I think we're in for a couple-year run of some pretty hard times in regards to energy, and it takes a lot of energy. Everything that we use that uses wood takes a lot of energy, and as there's increased demands on this wood, there is going to be a decrease in the supply, and it's going to jack the prices up. So I want you guys to consider getting your wood stoves installed, getting an ability to heat your home this winter, and getting prepared and getting ahead of it, and putting a little bit of forethought into what your energy consumptions need to be for a minimum standard of living over the next couple of years. Because if you're relying on a propane tank, you have to rely on that propane to not only be delivered, but to be processed, to be able to be got at a reasonable price. I don't think gasoline is going to become unavailable, but it could mean that the price to heat your house means that you can't heat your house above 55 degrees because it's so expensive to do. And especially if we start seeing barrels of oil reaching $200, $250 a barrel, that's certainly not outside the realm of normal, and or the realm of possible. And we have issues in Europe right now where we're seeing a 4x on our energy prices, and it's like, my God, like how those people are dealing with this is very scary. And I think that anything that seems to happen, the U.S. is probably not far behind. And so this is why I think we're seeing wood stoves and stuff be harder to get in Europe. I think it's time that you can really consider getting your wood stove put in your house, getting some firewood put back, and just being ready for it in general. Fireplaces are not generally an adequate form of heat, though it's better than nothing. Fireplaces waste a lot of energy going out the smokestack, so look at a quality wood stove or a wood stove insert, and or even wood-fired furnaces are okay too. But I think that we're likely to see some pretty harsh times coming ahead of us, guys. And I really want you to just consider, what do I need to do to stay ahead of this? So the World Economic Forum is telling us that we have these shortages coming, and I don't trust the World Economic Forum, but when they're saying something's bad, that's coming like that, I think something's bad, guys. So in Europe, they're seeing theft of firewood from the national forests over there. They're seeing various issues with people waiting in line for coal, not able to get the energy consumptions that they're used to, or the energy sources that they're used to consuming. Let me rephrase that. So, guys, I'm going to let you go with that. I really just want you to take a few minutes to consider, hey, what do I need to do to be prepared for next year? In the next coming years, because it's not going to be over this year, and I don't think it's going to be over next year. I think that we're in this for a long-term process. We keep 2 years of wood on hand. I would advise you to consider something similar in case somebody gets hurt. Everybody in your house needs to know how to run that wood stove. Everybody that's of a reasonable age to handle it needs to know how to run that wood stove safely and functionally. So, y'all, we'll let you go. Hopefully this helps you you're not crazy if you're thinking that this stuff is coming, and hopefully that brought some clarity to my banking video the other day, but I'm sure not as many people will see this when I saw that one. But y'all, we'll talk to you guys later. Remember, like and subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. That really does help us out, and I'll see y'all.